If you're at all familiar with our content, you watch the videos or whatever it might be, you've definitely heard us speaking about the idea of creating a conscious relationship or consciously creating your relationship. And it means the same thing either way. But as you can imagine, over the years, many people have asked us, what does this mean? You always talk about conscious relationship, creating a conscious relationship. What does that mean? How is it different than what most people are doing? Or how do I know if I'm creating a conscious relationship or not? So for those of you who have followed our content and have heard this term before and might be wondering what it's all about, what I mean when I say that, I wanted to make this video for you and speak into it and expand on the idea so you can really understand why I say that creating a conscious relationship is the only way you can find true love and fulfillment in a relationship in your lifetime. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoy it. Before we jump in, please like this video, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Definitely want to be able to stay in touch with you and allow you to keep getting this content. Thanks so much for watching today. I really appreciate you being with me. Hope you enjoy this video, and let's dive in. Now, I think the best way to break down this idea of creating a conscious relationship is to kind of explain how things used to be for me and then contrast that with how they are now, or how my relationship with my wife is now, and what we've created together. So you can kind of see the difference, because I think a lot of you will relate to what I'm going to share in terms of how things were for me and then how distinct it was when I started creating this relationship with my wife. Because really the way that the living relationship came about and the way that all this started was as my wife and I were building our relationship. I think on some level, we both knew for many years that this was the kind of relationship we wanted, and this is what we wanted to create and what we were looking for. But we had never been in a place where we were really ready to do that, or we had never partnered with anybody who was ready to do that until we met each other. So all of this really started from the realizations that came through creating our relationship. And as we look back on it, and we saw what we did and how we did it and thought like, wow, if more people could do this, they would bypass a lot of the challenges and vague and not knowing what to expect and all the, time wasted and heartache and waiting around for people. And, if more people had been able to approach relationships the way that we approached our relationship, I think overall people have a lot more success in their relationships and in dating and love in general. So that's really how all this started, as we look back on our experience, discovered what we did, what worked for us, and then really realized this is something that was very important for us to share. So if I share how things were for me, and I think a lot of you will relate to what I'm about to say. For me, relationships, it was always like they were happening to me. It wasn't like I was consciously creating anything. It wasn't like I had a clear vision of what I was looking for and I was bringing that into my life or bringing that into being. It was more like I was a mess of like mixed up emotions, mixed up feelings, mixed up fears. I was afraid of being hurt. I was afraid of rejection. I'd experienced a lot of that in the past. I'd experienced a lot of letdown, a lot of heartbreak. So I was kind of guarded. And I was worried about what people thought of me and how they were looking at me, and whether I was in a relationship or out of a relationship. I was worried about what people thought, and I lacked self-validation and self-confidence. So a lot of my relationships were ways to be like, well, I don't really feel great about myself, but if I can find someone else who feels great about me, that'll make me feel great about myself. And a lot of my relationships were generated in a mixture of all these kinds of dynamics, right? So here I am with all these mixed up feelings, fear of rejection, fear of being hurt, fear of being let down, fear of not being liked, and then at the same time needing that validation, and fear of being alone and lack of confidence. And I'm going out with all this mix of stuff going on and looking for somebody to kind of, in a way, heal all of this or make me feel better about all of this or make all of this suffering go away. And, I didn't put that out there to people, right? I was never like pathetic in dating. I always kept it cool. I always kept my, my emotions together. And I always, was pretty, even keeled as far as all that went. But this is what was going on inside of me. And so my desire for relationships wasn't coming from a clear vision for my life and the kind of partner I wanted to have and the kind of thing I wanted to create for myself. It was more coming from all these feelings of lack and this need to get with somebody, to find some relief to all of the stuff that was going on for me. So for many, many years, that's what it was. And as I was going through all of that and experiencing all of that and using relationships as a way to kind of overcompensate for the underlying feelings of lack and self-doubt and fear that were going on, my relationships and the relationships I created in my life really reflected that. So I ended up with, a woman who I believe she was a narcissist, and I could share some of the things, and maybe sometime I will, right? But, she just the twisted things she would say and do, and the ways she would like intentionally hurt and attack me and build me up and then break me down, and, like some of these things. And like, that's what I created, or that's what I found coming from that lack, right? Another relationship was like just boring. Like, she was a nice person, but we didn't relate. We had no real fundamental interests. We had no depth, no conversations. Our relationship was basically like eating and watching movies and playing video games. And, it was just like very boring. And it wasn't like, I was not fulfilled by that. That didn't light me up. That didn't excite me. There was no depth. There was no substance to that. And, there were other things, right? So I was just giving you a few examples here, but those were the kinds of relationships that I found myself in, coming from that need to have someone else validate me, or that need to have someone else fulfill me, or that feeling of not being okay, and looking to relationships as a way to make me feel better about that. And I ended up getting involved with some work, and I've done many different courses and seminars and trainings, but one program in particular I got involved with about a decade ago, and I stuck with this program for a few years, and I really learned a lot from them. And I actually ended up being one of the facilitators, and I traveled around the country delivering trainings for this company. And it was really, really great work, and really, really incredible trainings. And all the years I spent working with them made a huge, huge difference in my life. But I think that work, coupled with some other things, really helped me to identify some of these things that were going on for me under the surface, because I also didn't really know this was going on. And I think some of you, as you're watching this, you might relate to some of the feelings I had, but you might not really understand why it's happening, or how it's happening, or what it all means. And even if you do understand that to some degree, you might not really know what to do with it. And that's what this work I did really helped me to discover, was not only what was happening for me and why it was happening, but also what to do with it and how to really heal that, break through that, and overcome that. And naturally, a part of the work I did in those first few years helped me to realize that, I do deserve something more. I should expect more from life. I wasn't actually expecting too much from life, but I was expecting too little. I wasn't expecting too much from myself. I was expecting too little from myself. And I wasn't expecting too much from other people. I was actually expecting too little from them. And as I started to really accept all of this as being true, and as I was starting to accept another level of what I deserved and what I thought I should expect in my life, and I should expect from relationships, I should expect from women I get into relationships with, and all of this, as I started to really raise my standards and raise my idea of myself, and develop a sense of confidence that came through recognizing what my gifts are and finding ways to give my gifts out in the world. And the more I did that, the more confident I became, and the more I realized what a catch I was and how much I deserved. So that was one process, was going through all of this internally. And then the other part was externally, actually going out and meeting people and finding out what I liked about people, what I didn't like, what I wanted in a relationship, what I didn't want, developing the courage to walk away. But so there was a lot of different processes that were happening for me in these few years before I met my wife. But I want to say, and this is what creating a conscious relationship is like. It starts right now. And a lot of people think, we've talked to friends or people we know, and they say, yeah, I'll do your course when I get into a relationship. We're like, no, that is not the point, because if you wait until you get into a relationship, it's too late, because you're already starting the relationship with all the same stuff that hasn't worked in the past. So the thing to do is actually start now, to start to clarify what you deserve, what you should expect from life, what you should expect from men or women or other people, what you should expect in relationships, and how to communicate about that, and how to develop these tools and these skills that are dating skills, but they're really life skills, because you empower yourself in every aspect of your life as you develop these tools and these insights that I'm talking about here. So as I was doing all this work, and my wife, her journey was very parallel to mine in her own way. It was very unique to her, but we were doing a lot of the same work. So when we met each other, it was kind of this perfect storm of, we were both doing the work. We both knew what we wanted. We both kind of knew what we expected. And so when we met each other, it was very easy for us to identify that, this is someone that I actually think I could create that with. And we both had our tests for each other, and something that we teach in our programs when you work with us is like, how do you test a relationship to see if it's really something that can stand up to the life you want to create with this person? And, we had our little tests for each other, and we very easily passed each other's tests. And we very quickly realized, like, wow, there's a way that we communicate with each other. There's a way that we ask for what we want. There's a way that we work to fulfill each other's needs in this relationship. And there's a way that we, give each other space and come back together. And, all these things that we developed with each other and started to realize, like, wow, if more couples and more individuals could empower themselves to communicate to people they're dating and also people that they're in relationships with in these ways, that would change everything. And people would naturally start to find really conscious and empowering relationships. And so that's really what we talk about when we talk about creating a conscious relationship is developing some insight ahead of time. So you know what to expect, you know what you're creating, you know what you're looking for. Developing some tools of communication so that when you're getting to know somebody, you know how to speak with them in a way to determine if you're on the same page and if you can actually build the life together that you want to create with this person. And then as you do that, you establish a really solid foundation. And what we see time and time again in our programs are the people who do the work with us. They actually get more work done in the first 3 months of a new relationship than most people do in years together, because they're starting it off on a solid foundation, on the right foundation. And that foundation lasts for many, many years to come. So that is the general idea of creating a conscious relationship. And if you'd like to explore this idea more, what I'd like you to do is go to 7daysofinspiration.com, because what I've done is I've taken the 7 most potent and powerful ideas that will empower you to create your epic love story in a conscious way, just like I'm talking about in this video. And these 7 ideas, if you simply listen to them, I'm going to give you some extra insights and journaling tools to explore them a little bit more. And as you explore these ideas and you learn how to use these tools that I'm giving you in this 7 days of inspiration, it will literally change everything. And the dating game will transform from this mixed emotion of negativity and stress to like this empowering and inspiring journey of personal growth and personal development as you find the ideal partner that you're looking for. So I'd really like to be able to share these 7 ideas with you. It's absolutely free. Go to 7daysofinspiration.com. You can sign up there, and I really look forward to having you join us for these 7 days. Thanks for watching today's video. Again, please like it, share it, subscribe, follow, all that great stuff. When you're done with that, go to 7daysofinspiration.com, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.